Kurt Cobain was not trans, or at least not trans as we understand it today. Hi, my name is Kate Madden, and I am a transgender music critic and historian. My qualifications are, I was part of the latter part, a Gen X, also known as a Zennial, and I like music. So that's good enough, right? No. I've been aware of the online conversation that's been going on in at least the trans community for a number of years now regarding Kurt Cobain's gender identity and gender expression. And I was there, Nevermind came out when I was grade 8, grade 9 high school. So, freshman year, high school, 13, 14 years old. And I can't overstate how revolutionary this album was. It was being played on the pop stations. It was everywhere. The sound was of those 4 chords, the intro chords were everywhere. And it turned everything upside down, including my high school and my teenage years, and became part of the soundtrack to my life growing up. I remember vividly where I was in April 5th, April 6th, 4th, 1994. And I also remember really clearly the music videos. I remember the concerts of Kurt wearing a dress and, being gender creative. But as someone like him who was very aware of a lot of things going on in the world, he never publicly stated anything regarding his gender. And he didn't write anything down either. I mean, there's hints, there's things that make you scratch your head, and maybe you can even stretch and be like, if you know, you know. But I remember a history class I took in first or second year university, and the prof said, we can't judge yesterday by today's values and norms. We can't project the present onto yesterday. And back in the early 90s, mid 90s, to have any sense of trans representation or trans visibility in media, you had a couple of choices. You had Jerry Springer, you had Looney Tunes, or you had the back pages of the paper, usually the music paper. And normally speaking, it was people engaged in sex work. And you also only had a very limited number of words you could use. So it was CD, TV, TS, crossdresser, transvestite, or transsexual. We didn't have the understanding of gender identity, gender expression, sexual identity, sexual expression that we do today. That's developed over the last 30 years. And I find it so incredibly distasteful to out somebody when they're not even alive anymore. And I'm just not comfortable at all projecting what we know today about how to describe these experiences and identities onto somebody back then, or to ascribe any of that to what he was experiencing with regards to his depression and eventual loss to depression. The last year and a bit has been really wonderful. I've watched my 13-year-old son explore the early 90s Seattle scene and fall in love with Nirvana. He plays Nirvana better than I do on the guitar. It's I gotta get him to give me lessons. And so much so that we went to Seattle. I live 3 hours north of Seattle. And we went to Seattle for spring break, and we visited Kurt's house there on Lake Washington, and we saw, the house. We went to the bench. We sat in the park. We did all the things. And it's something that I'm no expert in, but in any of it. I'm not an expert in any of it, but I lived it. I'm not going to gatekeep anybody's identity, but I don't think it's fair for us to, when in Rome, right? The past was a different country, and they do things differently there. So, yeah, something did happen, though, with Michael Stipe, and Courtney Love's been very open about that, and you can go read about it. There's a Rolling Stone article sometime in the 90s, I remember reading about it, some lost night with Michael Stipe. And, I'll take my lead from Courtney Love and Michael Stipe on this, which is weird to say, but neither of them have said anything, and I think if anyone knew, it'd be Michael Stipe. Anyways, that's my unpopular trans opinion. Anyways, I gotta get away. Catch you later.